Thank you. All the support and love I got in the last 24 hours was very unexpected. I appreciate a lot of it. I see I've touched a few people already. There's a taboo attached to it. It's a stigma. So bringing it to the public domain, I was a little nervous, but thank you. Thank you for everybody. Oh, and everybody, everybody mentioned my espresso. They said I should do the pinky. They should let the pinky out. um, yeah, those are one of the few things I can't let go. My espresso, I gotta have 3 or 4 of those a day, and a Coke every once in a while. A Coca-Cola, okay. Don't get any ideas. Coca-Cola, I gotta have one of those. I haven't had one in weeks. I think I took a sip. I don't want it. I had it in the fridge, and it was flat, and I was like, that's a sign from God. Don't do it. Just throw it out. So let's do this. Let's do this. I was wondering where to start, okay, and let's just get into the meat and potatoes, right? I guess I'm gonna do what everybody's been asking me. Why and how did I get clean, right? That's the mystery. How does one get clean? There's different avenues people can take. I'll kind of tell you what I think helped me get clean because it's different. The journey's different for everybody. Um, I always like to tell people there's 2 things that help me get clean. 2 things. One thing is the vanity that I hold close to my heart, you know? Vanity on how you look. It's a big thing. I think everybody should be a little vain. I really believe that. I think if you look good, you feel good. You feel good, you get good results, right? So I always believe everybody should be a little vain. The big teeth were always a big thing for me. Hair loss runs in my family. I've always been petrified of that. Yes, I am one of those that take the him pill religiously. I started showering and some were falling out and I was getting nervous, but it's all there, I think, right? I hope so. I don't dye my shit. I get a couple whites here and there. Nothing up top yet. I think I saw one the other day, kind of freaked me out, but I think it was the way the light was hitting me, maybe. I don't know. So let's do this. The why, obviously, the why is easy. The why, we're adults. We got to move on with our life, right? We got to get success. We got a family. We have children. Everybody's got to build a successful life. Doing drugs, they're not going to get you there because you're going to spend all of your money all the time. And I'm the worst kind of drug addict, right? I was self-sabotaging. I don't know if I mentioned this in my last video, but I was the kind of drug addict that didn't have friends. The first thing they always tell you when you want to get clean is change your surroundings and change your friends. I didn't have that. I didn't hang out with people that did drugs. I didn't date girls that did drugs. And I didn't hang out in places where there were drugs. I mean, my job, there was drug use because it was a high, intense kind of, I've been in the car business my whole life. So the place that I worked was high intensity at all times. You always had to be on. Then I was kind of given a management role at a new store, and now I'm responsible for everybody and everything. So yeah, it kind of exploded from there. I would keep pills inside my jacket, inside my suit. I think I was up to like a $400 or $500 habit with pills. My poison was Percocets and anything opiates. Okay, and that slowly started to spiral, or like it always does. Money starts to get scarce. You start to see that other opiates can fulfill what your pills are doing, and those are no longer working because they're not strong enough. So you got to get to stronger stuff. And now it's not about feeling good anymore. It's about not being sick and getting through the day. Okay. The first couple years was a great time. Maybe the first year and a half was a good time. Going out, taking pills. It starts on the weekend, right? Oh, I get a drink along with the pills. Now you feel like Superman. It kind of started, for me, it really started. I wanted to go out and not drink. So I never liked to drink. I was never a big drinker. So when I would take these pills, they would make me feel good. I would feel amazing. I'd go out. I'd have super confidence. I would want to be out all the time. I'd be going nuts, But it was sober enough that I could drive, I can function, I can go out, have a good time, and wake up in the morning and feel amazing and go to work. So it started on the weekends, and then it started, oh man, I wonder how my day at work would be if I take this on Monday morning, Boom. Productive day. The day flies by and you get a lot of work done because, you feel great. You just keep moving. All right, let's stick to the how I got clean. Like I said, there's two things. Vanity was one of them. That was a big part of it. I like to say that because as soon as I started seeing my face getting all messed up, and my teeth started like getting kind of transparent. It was weird. I started seeing like some kind of, it was weird. That started freaking me out. That started being like, oh, I gotta get clean. So after I started seeing all this, that started freaking me out. I started trying to figure out, and like I said, there was never a time where I wasn't trying to get clean. I was always trying to figure out a way out of this. It was the early stages where I didn't think I had a problem, but once I got out of the denial stage, there was never a moment where I wasn't trying to get clean. I remember I bought a house in West Haven. I remember there was a time where I spent like 2 weeks just detoxing in my own place, and I get the worst kind of withdrawals. Withdrawals, you get sick, you sweat, you get diarrhea, everything wants to come out of every orifice in your body, right? But once I get past that part doesn't really bother me that much. But for me, like a month or 2 months after that, I get this bad brain fog depression that I just can't kick. I just can't kick it. I can't kick it, and I can't get out. And I'm talking no sleep, okay? We're talking nights of just endless, just being awake like this, and then the sun going down, moon coming up, moon going down, sun coming, and just over and over and over, because you can't sleep. You just cannot sleep. So the two things, okay. So vanity is definitely the biggest part that got me to make the leap. And the second thing I always like to say that helped me get clean is that I had a good life before that. Now, you have to remember, a lot of these drug addicts that you see on the street, they didn't live a lot of them didn't live a previous life. They've just been doing drugs their whole life, so that's all they know. So that's all they ever do, right? Me, on the other hand, I built success. I've bought homes. I've done successful things. I've gone on vacation. I've been with beautiful women. I've been surrounded by beautiful people. I've done amazing things. So during my addiction, all that stuff is in my head. Okay. Remember, I've lost properties. I've lost my fiance. I've lost relationships. I've burnt bridges. Everybody does. This happens when you're an addict. So always having in the forefront of my mind the life I had before this was always paining me. It was just like, damn, I lost all this stuff. How am I going to rebuild this? And it comes to a point in your life. It does come to a point where you're like, I'm so far removed from that life that I'm never going to get back there. I'm just never, I put my hands up. I give up, because there's no way. I'm so far from that I could never see myself back in that position. And I just remember this one time that I was at a detox, and I'm laying there, and I'm in this room just looking up at the ceiling, and it has like a sky view, and I can see, and it's raining, it's downpouring hard, and I'm going like, and at this point I'm in Florida. I left Connecticut to go get clean. My dad had me come down, and he goes, we're gonna get you clean. I in my mind said, I'm gonna be there for 6 months. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna get away from my environment, like everybody says, right? And I'm gonna go do this. I didn't leave Florida for 2 years. Okay. And in those 2 years, relapses happen. It was the worst place. Orlando, Florida. If anybody ever tells you to move to Orlando to go to rehab, don't do it. Don't do it. Because any rehab you go to, though you think drugs are rampant here, oh, you're sadly mistaken. Florida, remember, it all comes from there. And Texas. So it is basically free. You know how many times I've walked out of a detox, or I walked out of a program, and dudes roll up on me and give me free samples, like, yo, hit me up, call me, I'm doing no less than 60, blah, 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 blah. And, towards the end of it, I would say no to that. But there was times where I would take, yo, good look, and keep it moving, keep it pushing, right? So now let's go back to the skylight in the detox. I'm just laying there looking up, and I'm like, this is my life now. I'm never going to get out of this. I'm never going to touch a beautiful woman again. And mind you, when you're on opiates and you're going through addiction, you can't even think about having sex. Your facilities aren't functioning at full capacity, if you know what I mean, because there's receptors in your brain that the opiates fulfill. The same receptors that you use for joy and intimacy and getting, having sex. All that comes from there. And when you do those drugs, um, it disrupts those receptors. So you don't even want to think about having sex. You don't even, you know what they say, if you don't use it, you lose it. And it's fucking true, man. That is yeah, that's true. Um, so yes, I'm laying there and I'm like, how am I ever going to get back to this? But then I realized there, I step out of the room and I see all these other guys who I'm with. And again, my vanity kicks in. I step out and I'm sharing in a group with other guys, and my vanity kicks in, and I'm like, oh, excuse me for saying this, but this is how I felt at the moment. I was like, oh, I'm better than these people. Oh, I shouldn't be here. I definitely shouldn't be here. Um, you know, and again, that's my vanity kicking in, and I think that's a big part of what saved me. I want to apologize for feeling like that, feeling like I was superior to some people, but I just knew I wasn't at the right place, I just didn't belong there. Just having conversations that other guys around me just couldn't handle. I was like, oh, this guy doesn't even, oh, he's not even listening. He doesn't even know what I'm talking about. He's on a different planet. Mm. So there was a gentleman that came in to tell us a story. They always have somebody come speak and tell you what their story was, and he didn't believe in God. A big part of recovery is they always say you want to find some higher power to believe in, and that didn't work for me. That didn't work for me, and he didn't believe in God, but it worked for him. So we're sitting there, and he's telling us a story how he was a drunk, and he would find himself 4 towns away with no clothes on when he came to, and he didn't understand how he got there. And he's going on and he's telling us his motivational story. The guy, I could just see the guy next to me. He's like seething, like, this guy's lying. Like, I could tell, like, he's like, this guy's lying, He stands up and says, yo, you're such a liar. You know damn well, like, it's not like that, bro. When I wake up, I need that bag. When I got to take my kid to the playground, I need that bag. When I got to go to work, I need that bag. I don't care what you think, I need that bag. There ain't no way you just saying that I have to just drop this. There's no way, I can't do it. So I'm in my mind, I'm like, oh, he can't even handle somebody else being clean. So I was like, he's gonna be here forever. He's never gonna get out of this. So all I did was look around me, look around my environment, and realize, like, I have to change this. And this is the beginning. it, it I got out of all of this like 3 years later. Okay, this is just, and that's how my mind was, and that's how long it all takes. Someone said something to me one time that resonated me, and it still resonates with me today. They said, I wish you a successful but slow recovery. And that was always my problem. My problem was always I was trying to get through it fast. I got to get back to where I was. I got to. That don't work. That does not work. That does not work unless you have someone who's backing you and can throw money at you. You have to take it day by day, and you have to do a lot of acceptance. So let's stick to the how. You gotta have a lot of acceptance day by day. You gotta take it slow day by day. I'm much more patient than I ever was before. I'm the most patient person. I can wait and wait and wait. I can wait anything out. Not to say I don't get impatient like everybody else does, but my patience has grown since then. And it was a slow climb. So the why is easy, right? We have to be successful. We have to get on with our lives and build a prosperous, exciting life. So, 2 things. Remember, my vanity saved me because I was looking at myself in the mirror and I was falling apart. Literally, my eyes were sinking in. My skin was scaling up. I don't know, whatever they were putting in the drugs I was getting by the end of it. I was kind of proud of myself, though. When I went to that detox in Florida, they almost didn't accept me because on the street before that, I had lowered my doses. I was slowly, first of all, you ain't got money, but I was slowly kind of weaning myself off of the drugs. I was down to like a $5 bag a day. So when I got in there, they almost didn't accept me. They were like, oh, they thought I was, most people go in and they have all kinds of drugs in their system. I only had one drug and it was a very low amount. And the lady was like, oh, I don't know if we can accept you. I was like, I had to have a conversation with this lady. I said, Listen, I'm from Connecticut. I'm right on the fence of getting clean, lady. If you don't accept me in this bed, I'm gonna fall. I'm gonna go the complete direct opposite direction. So I need you to accept me in here. And she felt the sincerity in my voice. She felt the sincerity, and she even said it. She's like, what are you even doing here? You look, you look fine. Where are your parents? What do you? I'm like, lady, I'm 30 something. Like, my parents. What are you talking about? I need this bed. So she pushed. I gave her props. Wherever she is right now, I gotta find her and thank her, because she pushed for me to get that bed, and that also helped me, because I went from that detox to a rehab facility, and I became the leader of my house. I held my own groups and stuff, and I learned a lot. The rehab is a difficult thing to do, because they're so used to seeing, the turnover is so crazy, and the people come back and back and back, that those people become jaded and they don't want to help. But there are, one or two people in the facilities that really want to see you do well, and I really sought those people out. One big thing that I always go back to when I think about my journey of getting clean are the other people at the detoxes and rehabs. I always try to. I did 6 months in jail too, so I also looked for people in there, of my peers. What you would consider your peers in jail. I spent 6 months in jail, but I knew no inmates. Okay, I think I knew one or two from when I was a kid. Well, one I know really well, and I knew all of the correction officers. How embarrassing! I went to high school with most of those correction officers in that jail. How embarrassing is that? That didn't help me either in jail. Got my ass beat, because they thought I was a snitch and stuff. But whatever, that's another story. So yeah, when I was in those facilities, I would find like-minded people. I knew not to hang out with, you within 30 seconds of talking to someone, if they're part of your tribe or not, right? You can talk to somebody for 30 seconds. Oh, I can vibe with this dude. I can vibe with this chick. But when you're in a situation like that, you have to bond with people. But you're not bonding, and this goes to my dad. He gave me the worst advice, because my dad was a correction officer for 24 years. He said, just go in there and put your head down. Definitely not the right thing to do. uh, they didn't like that very much, because you're a weirdo. You're avoiding everyone. You're not talking to anybody. You're by yourself, being quiet. They're like, yo, what's up with this dude? What's his charges? They automatically think you're a pedo. If you just quiet and you're to yourself and you're minding your own business, they're like, yo, something's up with this guy. He's a snitch, or his charges are funny. So find like-minded people like I did. And I think the whole time in rehab, I might have found 2, 3 guys who I still keep in touch with on Facebook, and they're clean. Shout out to Jimmy. Shout out to Dan. Shout out to Nate. Nate was my roommate. Actually, I have to call Nate. I haven't seen him in a long time. He was my roommate at the rehab in Florida. And we became close, man. We actually got an apartment together and lived together. Had a job over there. That was just a nightmare. All of it. Just thinking about it now, I don't even want to have this conversation. It's just, I'm getting PTSD just thinking about it. So yeah, that's my why. The why is obvious. I don't really have much to say about the why, because the why is the why. It's, you got a son. And again, you have to do everything for yourself. You can't do it for him. You can't do it for your family. You got to do everything for you, and you're going to want to have to do it. You're going to want to have to do it for yourself. There's nobody else that you're going to do this for. Okay. Uh, you're the only one that's going to wake you up in the morning. You're the only one that's going to keep you on track. You are the only one that's going to care at the end of the day. Everyone that you talk to is going to say they care, but guess what? They have their own lives to go back to. They're not monitoring you. Yeah, they're concerned for you from afar. Everyone's concerned about you from afar. Even now, even being clean. Everybody loves you. Everybody's concerned about you, but from afar, because guess what? They have their own shit to deal with. They can't be on top of that. And I have to give a big shout out. Before I end this video, I have to give a big shout out to my friends that always looked for me. They always looked for me. Going through that also kept me going. Through those years of addiction and recovery, Michelle, You know, you and your sister Crystal have always looked for me, no matter where I was, no matter what I was doing. You guys always looked for me, just to see how I was doing with Mari. I love you, girl. She's my number one. She always has looked out for me and always sought me out no matter where. She would always call to try to find out what I'm doing, how I'm doing. Amanda Cruz always looked after me, my family. Javi, Suhey, Titi Ali. I lived with my Titi Ali for a few years. Before I go on with this whole journey, I want to thank all these people. And I know I'm going to miss some folks, my parents, obviously. I have a lot of, I'll have a lot of making up to do, a lot of redemption to make up with my family because, I dragged them through hell and they went about it the right way. I was upset with my parents for a long time, my mom, but they went about it the right way. Listen, if you have a drug addict around you, the best thing you could do for that person is cut them off. If you're their boss, fire them. They have to hit rock bottom to start climbing back up. They will be mad at you and will hate you, but if you keep feeding them, they will just manipulate you and keep taking and taking and taking. So you have to cut them off. You just have to. Who else do I have to thank? Oh, my baby, Joanna. Raising our boy practically alone, and she's still taking a big part today. You know what I mean? Like it's still a climb. It's still a climb. It's still something that I have to, being clean is just the beginning. It's just the beginning. There's a lot of work you got to put into this. Who am I missing? God, if I'm missing, if I'm missing you right now, it's because my mind is blanking. Just write me a comment, write me a message. I'll make sure to make up for it in the next video. I promise. All right. Thank you guys. I love you. Remember, we're on the brink, but we could change that.